Welcome back to another deep dive with us. This time we're going all the way back to Genesis 23.
Oh, Genesis 22.
The chapter that shows us Abraham dealing with a heartbreaking loss, the death of his wife Sarah.
Yeah.
And it's a pivotal moment in their journey and, their story. It's so central to the whole Bible. But this chapter, what I find fascinating is how this chapter brings in such a human element to their larger-than-life story.
Yeah, it is fascinating to see that even someone like Abraham, right, chosen by God for this incredible covenant, he still experiences the same raw grief we all do.
Exactly. And it's not just the emotional weight that he's dealing with.
Right.
It's the practical matters, too.
Yes.
He's a nomad in a foreign land.
Mm-hmm.
How does he even begin to bury Sarah with respect and dignity in a culture where owning land was everything?
That's a great point. You're absolutely right. Land in those times wasn't just property.
Right.
It was deeply tied to identity, to belonging to legacy. It's like roots.
Yeah, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So without land, Abraham is in a really vulnerable spot.
Yeah.
He needs the Hittites' generosity, which makes their response even more remarkable. They actually offer him their best burial places.
It's not just any offer. They call him a mighty prince among them.
Wow.
You have to wonder what made him so respected by them.
Yeah, where does this respect come from?
This is a foreigner, yet they're practically falling over themselves to accommodate him.
Wait, hold on. Could it be connected to Abraham's reputation?
Possibly.
I mean, remember, this is the man who almost sacrificed his son because of his faith.
That's right.
Word travels fast. And maybe that act of devotion impressed the Hittites. They clearly saw him as someone deeply connected to the divine.
That's a great point. His piety might have preceded him, painting him as someone worthy of respect and deference. But then Abraham's reaction adds another layer to this.
Okay.
He doesn't just accept their generous offer.
Right.
He insists on buying a specific cave, the cave of Machpelah.
Why this particular cave? What's so special about it that he's willing to negotiate a purchase when they're practically giving him land for free?
There's definitely more to his decision than meets the eye. On one hand, it shows Abraham's desire for permanence.
Okay.
He's not looking for a quick solution. He's looking to establish roots for his family.
So it's more than just a burial place.
Yeah.
It's like he's laying down a foundation for his descendants.
Exactly. And choosing Machpelah, a cave, adds a whole other layer of symbolism.
Okay.
Caves in the Bible often represent security.
Okay.
Refuge.
Okay.
Almost like a symbolic womb.
Wow, that's beautiful imagery.
Yeah.
It's like he's creating this protected space.
Yeah.
A symbolic womb for his family's future in this new land.
And this leads us to the intriguing exchange between Abraham and Ephron the Hittite, who owns the cave.
Okay.
On the surface, Ephron seems incredibly generous, offering the cave and the field for free. But you sense there's more going on beneath the surface, right?
Totally. It feels almost staged. Like he's putting on a show of generosity in front of all the other Hittites, perhaps to boost his own standing within the community.
You're picking up on the subtle power dynamics at play here.
Yeah.
And this is where things get really interesting. Because Abraham, wise as ever, doesn't fall for it. He insists on making it a proper transaction. He doesn't want to owe Ephron anything, nor be seen as taking advantage.
Yeah, it's like he's saying, I appreciate the offer, but I'm not here to play games. I'm here to do things the right way with integrity.
Exactly. It speaks volumes about his character, and it sets the stage for the next fascinating element. The price itself, 400 shekels of silver.
That number definitely stands out. It seems like a lot. What's the significance of silver back then, and was this amount considered a fair price?
Well, silver was the currency of choice in the ancient Near East.
Okay.
It represented wealth and stability.
Yeah.
Some scholars say that 400 shekels actually was a fair market price for prime land like Machpelah, especially with a burial cave. But of course, there are other interpretations.
Ooh. Is this where the plot thickens? Let's delve into those interpretations and the potential power plays surrounding the price in the next part of our deep dive.
WBCM.
Okay, so we left off with that intriguing price tag, 400 shekels of silver.
Right.
It seemed like a fair price for the land.
Yeah.
But you hinted at other interpretations. What else could be going on with that specific number?
So some scholars propose that Ephron, while appearing generous,
Yeah.
might have actually inflated the price a bit.
Mm.
Remember, he's making this grand gesture publicly.
Right.
But maybe he's also capitalizing on Abraham's grief and urgency.
Mm.
You know, he knows Abraham needs this specific cave.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a touch of shrewd business going on beneath the surface.
So it's like he's playing both sides,
Yeah.
appearing magnanimous to the community,
Yeah.
while also potentially squeezing a bit extra out of the deal.
Exactly. It's that age-old dance of power and perception. But on the other hand, some scholars argue that the price reflects the genuine value of the land,
Right.
especially considering it includes the cave and trees, plus it emphasizes the formality of the transaction.
That makes sense. And the text does go into a lot of detail about the agreement, right?
Absolutely. It's like they're laying out a legal contract,
Right.
carefully recording the boundaries of the field, the inclusion of the cave and trees,
Right.
and even mentioning the witnesses present. This wasn't just a casual handshake agreement.
Right.
It was a serious binding transaction.
You know, I'm picturing this scene, all these people gathered as they meticulously record these details. It really emphasizes how important this purchase was for both parties.
And that level of detail also reveals something about the Hittite culture. They took property rights very seriously. It wasn't enough to just agree on a price. Everything had to be documented and witnessed to prevent any future disputes.
It's fascinating how this seemingly mundane detail gives us a glimpse into their legal practices, right? We often think of these biblical stories in broad strokes, but these specifics ground them in reality and make them feel so much more vivid.
Exactly. And this specific transaction, with all its details, has repercussions that extend far beyond just buying a piece of land.
Okay.
Think about it. Machpelah becomes the burial place, not just for Sarah,
Right.
but for Abraham himself, and later for Isaac, Rebekah, Jacob, and Leah. It's like this one purchase ties together generations of patriarchs and matriarchs, solidifying their connection to this promised land.
So it's not just a burial plot. It becomes a symbol of their legacy.
Yes.
Their claim to this land God has promised them. Wow, I never quite saw it that way before. It takes on a whole new meaning when you connect it to the bigger picture.
And this connection to the land is central to the entire biblical narrative.
Right.
Remember, God promised Abraham descendants as numerous as the stars, a nation that would inherit this land. So in a way, purchasing Machpelah is an act of faith, a tangible step towards fulfilling that promise.
It's like Abraham is putting down roots, establishing a physical presence for his family's future in this land.
Yes.
And doing it in a way that's legally sound and culturally appropriate. It's such a powerful statement.
It really is. And it makes you wonder what was going through Abraham's mind during this whole process. He's grieving, yet he's also securing a future for his family. It's a beautiful blend of the personal and the prophetic.
It makes you think about how grief and hope can coexist even in the face of profound loss.
Absolutely.
There's a sense of continuity, a belief in something bigger than himself.
Absolutely. And that's one of the key takeaways from this chapter, I think. It's about more than just a land deal. It's about grief, legacy, faith, and the enduring power of God's promises.
WBCM.
Okay, so we've talked about the cultural and legal aspects of this purchase, but what does it all mean for us today? How can we relate to this story thousands of years later?
Well, I think one thing that really resonates is the universality of grief. You know, Abraham, even with his special connection to God,
He experiences profound sorrow at Sarah's passing. He weeps, he mourns, he goes through that same process of securing a burial place that we all do.
It's a reminder that even the greatest figures in the Bible were human, you know, experiencing that full range of emotions. And it normalizes grief.
Right.
It shows us that it's okay to mourn, to feel that loss deeply.
Yeah. And it also highlights the importance of ritual and respect in dealing with death. The way Abraham takes such care to secure a proper burial for Sarah speaks volumes about their love and his desire to honor her memory.
Yes. And that ties into the theme of legacy.
Right.
Abraham, after years of wandering, is finally establishing a permanent place for himself and his descendants. He's creating a legacy, a physical anchor for his family's future. In this land God has promised them.
thinking about that, it makes me wonder if maybe finding this burial place, creating the space for his family,
Yeah.
gave Abraham a sense of belonging that he hadn't felt before.
Possibly.
It's like in laying Sarah to rest, he was also planting roots for himself.
That's a beautiful insight. It's as if in the midst of grief, he finds this profound connection to the land, to his purpose, to the future generations that will follow. It's a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit.
Yeah, this chapter really makes you think about how grief and hope can coexist.
Yes.
Even in the face of such a profound loss, there's a sense of continuity, a belief in something bigger than himself.
And that's the heart of the story, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a reminder that even in the darkest moments, God's promises remain. Even when we can't see the path ahead, we can trust in his plan and find solace in knowing that our story, like Abraham's, is part of a larger narrative unfolding.
so as we reflect on this chapter, what stands out to you? What resonates most with you personally? For me, it's that powerful image of Abraham in the midst of his grave, taking these deliberate steps to secure a future for his family for generations to come. It's a reminder that even in loss, there can be hope, and even in death, there can be life.
And as you ponder that, I'll leave you with this question to consider. Why might the detailed transaction for Machpelah be so important to the larger story of the Bible? What does it foreshadow about the future of Abraham's descendants and their connection to the Promised Land?
That's something to really chew on. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive into the scriptures. This has been Bible Talks on WBCM Radio, and you can find new releases on our YouTube channel and on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss our latest episodes. We love having you join us on this journey of exploring the Word and deepening our understanding of faith.
Until next time, may your faith be strengthened and your hearts be filled with hope.